Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's sake. Let's get started. So I'll be probably talking about USA Basketball Olympics at different points here and there, since the Olympics are going to be starting soon. But now that the NBA season's over, unless there's draft news or until free agency starts, it's going to be a lot about like a top 10 list, like different types of things like that, or just rumors about football in general because football will be back soon next month, at least preseason, and then the real football will be back in September. But I'm looking forward to that. So I do want to talk about different rumors or takes or all that stuff. So there's a hot take the other day, this last week. I'm a broadcaster I like, respect. Colin Cowherd from The Herd on Fox Sports. He was giving his NFL predictions. For the most part, I agreed with most of his predictions. For the couple disagreements, is I think the Patriots, despite their QB battle, would probably get in the playoffs over Miami because the Patriots defense is better than Miami's is, and they made some upgrades on offense. Now it's still not a great team per se. They'd either Miami or Patriots be a first round exit. And I don't trust Tua, but I agree. Yeah, I can see Miami making it though. But then the other disagreement though is that he thinks two NFC East teams will make the playoffs, and I think that's not going to happen with that being one of the worst divisions in the sport, and with the NFC West, for example, being so loaded. So I don't see Washington. He has Washington winning the division. Dallas, I'm getting as a wild card. I just don't see two teams get in, and so that's a difference there. And also, I have Dallas winning the division instead of Washington. Um, but and I would put the Saints in there instead of that second NFC's team. But other than that, um, I agree for the most part. But here's where the hot take comes in, and I somewhat disagree with, or mostly disagree with. He compares, we're talking, we know we do comparisons with rookie QBs and all that, and he compared Jets QB Zach Wilson to Johnny Manziel, and therefore he thinks with the worst QB in the class, and the Jets will stink. Well, I'm not mad that he said the Jets will stink, because I agree with him there. They're going to be the fourth place team in that division. I feel like in 2 years or so, they're going to be really good at playoff contender and all that, but as of right now, where things are, they're last in the division. I'm not disagreeing with him in that regard. I'm not even mad that he thinks Zach Wilson won't be that good, because with first round quarterbacks, there's always going to be that one guy who ends up being a bust, and you just don't know who that is. And with the Jets, and their quarterback history, I mean, he's just making the logical guess there, so I don't blame him for that. But however, to say that he's the next Johnny Manziel is offensive. Whether he was trying to be offensive or not, it was offensive. Let's start with one difference between Johnny Manziel and Zach Wilson. Manziel cannot stay off the drinking and the drugs and the weed, as Stephen A says. That it was a big factor in him, not having a good career. We don't have to worry about that with Zach Wilson. We don't have to worry about that with him. Second difference. Zach Wilson is a film junkie. He would, back at BYU, he would annoy the coaches because he asked so many questions, around midnight or 1 in the morning, and bothered him at that point. And then also, as we've seen different pictures of him on vacation or him having family dinners, he's watching film while doing all that. Instead of being with his family or enjoying his vacation and all that. And he's organizing practices and all that. Johnny Manziel was not that committed to football. He's only committed to football because it brought him the fame and glory and the deals and all that, which he was more concerned about that. And then the third difference, I can understand why people get confused saying stylistically speaking that Zach and Manziel did similar things in college. But here's how I would explain that. Manziel, he was literally just getting lucky and winging it and hoping for the best. Wilson, he actually practices his off-platform throws and stuff like that. It's kind of like when Steph Curry takes a horrible shot for most of us, but for him, just a normal shot because he can make it all the time. He practices that. Zach Wilson, he emulates to be like Mahomes or Russell Wilson or Rodgers or Brady or Brees or other QBs. He therefore practices those ridiculous throws, and therefore, since he practices it, that's why he's able to make it completed most of the time. Make a look at now. Am I saying that there's literally no luck? No, every quarterback will have some luck here and there, but for the most part, it's what he practices. Therefore, that's why it's kind of like the Steph Curry comparison. It's not getting lucky like Maziel did. It's there. He practices it, and therefore that's how he's able to do that. So whether you think Wilson is the next Mahomes or even the guy who's going to replace Sam Darnold, who we don't know yet, that or even Drew Lock or something like that, that's fine. But I don't want to hear people compare Wilson and Maziel ever again because that is factually incorrect. Sorry, I just had a rep. Since I'm a BYU guy, I just had to represent my BYU alum there. But sure, like if you can find a flaw in my argument, let me know in the comments. But I'm right there. Okay, now here's for a rumor hot taken. As we get more and more into rumors, let's stuck with another BYU QB and let's talk Saints. So based off the different analysts who I've heard throughout this offseason on who's going to win the quarterback battle in New Orleans, a lot of people think Jameis Winston either should win it or will win it. I would say the amount of people favoring Winston is about 80%, 20% from what I've kind of gathered. We must pump the brakes on this. Ben Volen of the Boston Globe has heard from leaked sources that it's not truly an open competition. Because of his ability as a dual threat talent, it will compel Sean Payton to open the year with Hill. If Hill should falter, it would be easy then to insert Winston and install a more traditional offense, and Hill can go back to the Swiss Army knife role. Basically saying Hill's his favorite. This is interesting. Of course, we know we have to take rumors with a grain of salt. As we saw with Dame Lillard earlier, we have to take them with a grain of salt. I think there are some truths to this, but some not. For example, I do feel like it will be a truly open quarterback competition. You know why? The only way they can convince Jameis Winston to re-sign and take another pay cut is to guarantee him a chance to win the starting job. Like Payton had promised before the 21 season that if Breeze got hurt, that Hill would get a chance to start, which he did. Now, just because he promised Winston a chance to start does not mean he does not have a favorite going into training camp. So I think Hill could be the favorite now. He's been there longer. He's invested in the Taysom Hill experiment project and all that. He wants him to succeed. I feel like that could be the case. Now, if Jameis Winston wows at training camp and shows his interception problems cleaned up, and Hill just looks way behind Winston and regresses, then yeah, Payton has no choice than to go with Winston. You got to take favorites because Winston proved it during training camp and beat out the favorite that yeah, I'm the better option. But if both QBs look good and there's really not much separation between them, then he might go with his favorite in mind, which is Taysom Hill. Now you may think, well, if he has the favorite in mind, he might go with him most likely. Then that means it's not truly an open quarterback competition. But that's false. If Payton were to say that Hill is our starter and that's what, or Jameis Winston's our starter and that's it, then yeah, there's no competition there. Mostly every coach, though, whether they admit it or not, will have a favorite in mind going into training camp. But if the other quarterback outperforms the favorite, then they can win the job, and therefore that's the definition of open competition. So let's look at the stats. Taysom Hill last year had a 72.7% completion percentage, best in the league. Now, if he were to start a full season, would it be that high? No. But, I mean, if it's around 68%, which I feel like that could have been the case, then that's still really, really good. He also had 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, although one of them wasn't completely his fault. And then he also ran for 457 yards, 8 touchdowns, 5.3 yards carry, which is absurd. Again, the only issue last year was the fumbling problem. But unlike interceptions, fumbling is easier to correct. It's easier because, for example, if a running back has a fumbling problem, it's usually not going to be consistent. It may be a problem for the full year, but then in the offseason he gets it fixed because it's a correctable thing. It's easy, just you can hold on the ball tighter type of thing. It's easier to fix than the interception problem, which is what James had. By the way, Ben Volen, he's speaking my language here on why Hill should start, and this is why I said at the beginning after when the offseason started on why Taysom Hill should start. One is the dual threat ability, which he mentioned in his post. Winston he's not like, Matt Ryan, where he's literally going to be the pocket. Like, he can move around and run if he has to. Like, he's not that much of a stiff person, but again, he's a more traditional passer. And with Hill, that dual threat ability is so attractive because right now, look at all the dual threat quarterbacks are having. Says Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Zach Wilson's also dual threat technically, so he'll do it as well. Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill. And then there's some QBs who don't run, but can, like Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or Aaron Rodgers. And then there's people like, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy G that can have success, but they have to be kind of really good at slash elite passing or like elite passer like Tom Brady in order to pull that off and win because it makes them much harder themselves when you can't run. So besides Jackson and maybe Kyler Murray, Hill's a better runner than all the other starting QBs. We've seen different starting QBs take advantage and use their talents to success. For example, Lamar Jackson, second year was able to win an MVP. So I think having that element for Hill is a good factor to have. And the fact that it's not like Hill is, like Tebow throwing 50% completion. It's not like that, because then obviously that kind of offsets things. But if he can keep 65% or up and do his athletic abilities on top of that, then that's just too much to handle if you're an opposing defense. And then another reason why is even whether Jameis Winston has fixed his interception issues or not. We know what he brings. We know what he is. Taysom, we still don't know completely what his ceiling is because there's a good ceiling there, but we don't know exactly what it is. And in my opinion, you need a full season, at least 16, 17 games on your belt before we start to get an idea if you're a good starting quarterback or not. For example, that's why this season is very important for Tua and Daniel Jones and Drew Lock if he beats out Teddy Bridgewater. Because after this season, then they're going to have 17 plus games on their belt, so we'll kind of know more than if they're a franchise quarterback or not, or even a starting quarterback or not. So like Benevolent said, and I said since the season's over, just give Hill the chance. Let's see what he got. And if the experiment fails like he said, then Winston's there, and they can make the playoffs. And if they make playoffs with him, no harm, no foul. If that ends up costing a playoff spot, then while that sucks, you just re-sign Winston next year until your draft pick for Notre Dame and Book is ready, and then Hill is that utility player, and if he leaves elsewhere, then oh well. So remember, in summary, if Winston shows up in camp and he is head and shoulders better than Hill, and it does not even look close, then don't bother trying this experiment. Just go with Winston because he earned the job. But if it's close one way or the other, then or Hill obviously is better, then it's worth it to see what you have in Taysom Hill because if you don't test the experiment, he can leave in free agency next year. And as a Saints team, you do not want that to happen. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel and tell me about me. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.